is Jody Goodrich. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist and the former mental health coordinator for the Fullerton School District. Lucky me, I retired about a year ago at this time. But I'm still here. I still got a toe in the water. I supervise our wonderful mental health associates who are working toward their professional license, who are serving our students at all of our schools. And I also consult regarding all things mental health. So my friend Pablo and I are happy to join you here this morning. I'm going to be sipping on some tea as I talk about taking care of my whole me. Right? Okay, this is a very important topic that I'm very passionate about because I really, really love working with people to help them find new meaning and purpose in their life. And if there's anything that can give us some new meaning and purpose, that's when we really embrace taking care of ourselves. So follow along with me as you see a whole big bunch of pink slides because we're talking about love. Right? Taking care of me involves love. It is an act of love, right? Sometimes it feels like a labor of love because when and am I ever going to get time to do this? But it's about love, guys. So bear with the Pepto-Bismol pink slides. And here we go. We're going to start off with one of my favorite quotes of all time. And that is, and I am going to read it, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Okay, I'm not going to stress this enough today because this is the key to taking care of the whole me. So let's take a moment. I'm going to imagine that you're reading this along with me. Please read it aloud with me so that you can hear this ringing in your ears. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. I hope by the end of this very pink presentation that this becomes an enduring truth for all of you, because it has really helped to guide me. So we're going to talk about that big, bad self-care phrase, right? Self-care. It's really kind of gotten a bad connotation, right? Because when we talk about self-care, we think, oh, right, that's going to cost money or take a lot of time or going to take some effort, right? I'm going to have to put some yoga pants on. It's probably going to have to involve some sweating or something, right? And if that wasn't bad enough, people probably are going to think I'm selfish if I engage in that. Well, again, I'm here to brainwash you all to help unwind some of these ideas that we've conjured up about taking care of ourselves, right? Self-care is not selfish, right? Does not equal. Self-care, actually, in its pure definition, is taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during times of stress, right? Does that sound selfish? I think not. It is not selfish, and particularly during this time in our lives as educators and as employees of a busy education system, right? We've never been more stressed in our lives. And so self-care is not only not selfish, it is absolutely essential. And self-care, quite frankly, it doesn't require a lot of time or money or effort, right? It can be those little things that we sometimes forget about, right? Little things like having lunch with a colleague or eating outside or taking a little walk, right? During those times when it's just crazy busy at work and we think that's the last thing that we can do. But you know what? It should be one of the first things that we think about during those crazy, busy, stressful times. Because remember, we need to protect our well-being and happiness during times of stress. Something that I like to suggest to sort of rewire our brains around this whole kind of self-care thinking that we can't do it or we shouldn't do it, is every time we do something that is for our well-being, our happiness, our peace of mind, our sanity, that we tell ourselves, I'm doing this for me. We use those words. This is for me. I'm going to go ask Pablo if he has time to sit down and have lunch with me for 15 minutes. I'm doing that for me. I'm going to go take a little walk around the block for me. I'm going to maybe not do anything for the next 5 minutes and just sit here and stare off into space for me. Okay, so that's what self-care is, doing things for me that protect my well-being and my happiness. Are you all convinced? Yes? No? A lot of you are like, what, is she crazy? This lady is crazy. Oh, Shayla raised her hand. I love you, Shayla. Well, Shayla's convinced, but not all of you are probably convinced, right? Because you're thinking, where on earth am I going to find the time, right? I don't have any time to do anything for me. You know, what is this lady talking about? Well, I'm going to start off with my first gem for you today that is going to help you find time to do more things for me, right? That's our new mantra, for me. And probably one of the best things that we can do for me is to set some healthy boundaries. Now, we've all heard about boundaries, and kind of like self-care, that word boundaries gets thrown around so much. But what is that actually, right? What is that? Healthy boundaries are setting limits around our time, around our emotions, our body, our mental health, right? These are things that we can do to protect our well-being and happiness, right? I'm not talking about rigid boundaries. I don't want you all to just say, okay, well, I'm calling in work because I don't have time to work or take care of my family or do any of that stuff. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're going to have flexible, healthy boundaries, right? Because of course we have to carry out our job duties. We have to take care of our households and our kids and whatnot. But maybe we've overcommitted ourselves elsewhere. Maybe we've wanted to, really sign up for way too many things, right? Or maybe we've got someone in our circle who's just sucking the life out of us emotionally, right? Draining us with all of their drama, right? Or maybe we're just being taken advantage of because we're so kind and we're the first to volunteer, right? So setting healthy boundaries is just something that we can practice. Again, I know it's not easy for everyone, but it's essential. If we want to protect our well-being and happiness, the first gem that we're going to take with us today is setting healthy boundaries. Because remember, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection, right? And you can really show yourself that by saying, I'm going to pass on baking cookies for the bake sale at my kids' school because, I really need that time to do something for me, right? Because I'm stressed and I really need to take care of myself. It's okay to take care of yourself and to show up for yourself. All right. Who has seen this wonderful phrase that's as old as time here? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? We all know what that is. It's not only biblical, it's called the Golden Rule, right? The Golden Rule. It's a wonderful thing. It has been instrumental in helping us live in a civilized society, right? It's a great guiding principle for all of us, and we all need to continue to practice this. But I want you to think about something here for a moment. How many would admit that you treat others better than you do yourself? right? How many people would admit that you do unto others better than you do unto you, right? You know, it's normal. It's normal for us to do that. We want approval. We want to be liked. You know, we want to be good, right? That's what the golden rule says, be really good, right? And so we all like how that makes us feel, right? But, you know, in my own journey, I've discovered that no one is going to care for me more than I am willing to care for myself, right? No one is going to do unto me more than I do unto myself. How we love ourselves is how we teach others to love us. And again, this is something that doesn't say I have to be not be a good person. This just says I need to be better to myself because I'm doing a lot unto others, but I'm doing very little unto me. So I thought I'd come up with my own little twist on this golden rule, and I've created the silver rule, which goes something like this: do unto yourself as you do unto others, right? And it doesn't mean that we throw away the golden rule. Heavens no, we continue to do the golden rule. That's our guiding principle. But we can also do the silver rule. We can also take some time to do unto ourselves, to do things for ourselves, right? Be kind to ourselves, right? Think about it when you have a friend or some relatives over for dinner. Boy, you bust out the candles and you put on the music and you put the good stuff on the plate, right? Do that for you, right? Light those candles. Eat something delicious, right? Something that I find really is such a simple little thing to do is to come home from work and put on your coziest slippers and loungy stuff, right? I learned that from Oprah. Can you imagine what Oprah's collection of loungewear looks like, right? But we can do that unto ourselves. We can say, my work day is done. I'm going home. I'm getting cozy. I'm going to light some candles, put on some music, right? Settle in. Many of you are thinking, you don't live in my house with the kids and the needs and everything. Well, have everybody put on something cozy. Have everyone light a candle, put on some music, have a dance party, right? It's okay. It's okay for us to take care of ourselves. I'm going to keep stressing that, right? Because we really need to take this into our hands and into our hearts. It's okay to do unto ourselves. So my friend Pablo is familiar with this activity. This is gem number 3, right? And so I'm not going to send you all outside now to find some rocks. Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute, actually, what these rocks are. But this is a fun little analogy that I've worked out with some of our management team. And I think it would be really helpful for all of us to really be mindful of what are our rocks. So let's get into it. What are our rocks, right? Well, we're going to imagine that every day we have an empty bucket. And during our day, we have all kinds of activities that we have to engage in, right? And so I've categorized our activities into rocks, pebbles, and sand. So the rocks are activities that we engage in that are really going to be the most important things to us, the things that really give our life meaning and value. These things usually really contribute to our mental health, our physical health, our emotional well-being, and they make us feel fulfilled and at our best, right? Think about feeling loved and at peace and smart and alive and excited. Those are the activities that will represent rocks. And then we can also put pebbles in our bucket. right? Pebbles are certainly things that matter and things that need to get done, but they're not actually essential to our overall well-being. These things also can be kind of, passing fancies, like that paint by number thing that I got all hooked on the beginning of the winter break. And after a week, rolled that baby up and tucked it away in a cupboard somewhere, right? So that didn't turn out to be a rock, but I've got plenty others that I can lean on. But pebbles certainly are things like our work tasks, our home tasks, emails, phone calls, cleaning, shopping, all of that kind of stuff. We need to get them done, but they aren't the things that make us feel absolutely at the top of the heap. And then there's the sand. The sand is everything else, right? The sand is that stuff that we do to just distract ourselves. Sand is usually wasteful of time, sometimes our health, right? Think mindless snacking, like, wow, how many Doritos is that? Oh, geez, I've lost count, right? Sometimes our sand is like something that gets in the way of our relationships. I keep telling my son, your girlfriend's going to break up with you if you can't get off those video games, right? So we all engage in sand because sometimes we just need a break, and, getting on that TikTok or watching that Netflix, right? It's a great way to just put our mind on pause, right? But, if we do too much sand, we actually are taking away precious time and energy that we might be able to devote to a rock, right? So what I'd like for you all to do right now is to just take a moment and think about your rocks. Think about those things that you engage in that make you feel healthy, at peace, connected, loved, smart, alive, joyful, cared for, strong. Take a moment to jot down a couple of things that really help you feel these things, right? I know when I spend time in nature, that certainly is a rock for me. When I connect with friends and loved ones, that's a rock. But you take a moment and write down some things, and we'll come back in just a second. All right. Well, I hope that all of you took a moment or two to identify those things that bring up one or many of these emotions or feelings, or any particular feeling that is really meaningful and valuable for you, because those rocks are going to be your self-care, right? And so if we can put more of those rocks in our bucket during the day or week, the better we're going to feel, right? The more our well-being and happiness are going to be elevated. So I would encourage all of you to think about those rocks and try, if at all possible, to include more of those in your day. Because remember, we're going to be setting healthy boundaries, right? And so we'll be able to take some of that time where we've overcommitted to devote to a rock. And maybe we're going to convert some sand to a rock. So those are just some ways that we might be able to work some more rocks into our daily and weekly buckets. One of my favorite rocks of all time is something called mindfulness. And that's going to be my fourth gem for you, is this little trip down mindfulness lane together. And again, mindfulness is really kind of a mysterious thing. A lot of people think, what the heck is this mindfulness thing? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Do I have to go somewhere to do it? Do I have to cross my legs, right? Like this little icon here. So I like to really break it down by using this little phrase. Mindfulness is really a mind full of oneness, or being completely at one in the moment with what you're doing, right? Because mindfulness, in its definition, simply means that we acknowledge and accept our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations calmly and without judgment. I'll say it again. Calmly acknowledging and accepting our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment. Okay, that's the big part, right? And I'll give you a little example of how we might be able to differentiate our normal response versus a mindful response. So let's just imagine I'm driving to work and a car cuts in front of me as I'm already late and I've got a big meeting and it's really scary. And I'm so scared that I become enraged and I lean on my horn and I speed up and chase the person who cut me off, and I miss my turn to get to work, and I pull up alongside the car and I'm shaking my fists, right? That's not a very mindful response, right? I've let my emotion take over. I've let myself get lost in my bodily sensations, my thoughts, and my feelings, right? It's a runaway train. But if I were to really encounter that same experience of being cut off mindfully, I might acknowledge, wow, that was really scary. I can feel my heart is really pounding. I thought that guy or girl was going to hit me, or I was going to slam into them, right? Wow, what a stupid driver, right? See, I'm allowed to think that. I'm not judging. I can have that thought, right? Being mindful doesn't mean we're an angel, but I don't have to act on it. I can be calm and acknowledge calmly my thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judgment, right? So I've got a great little video I'm going to play for you, which will further illustrate mindfulness.
There's a story, usually attributed to the Native American tradition, which illuminates different ways of paying attention. An elder, talking to a child, says, "I have two wolves fighting in my heart. One wolf is fearful, vengeful, envious, resentful, and deceitful. The other wolf is compassionate, loving, generous, truthful, and peaceful." The child asks, "Which wolf will win the fight?" The elder responds, "The one I feed." That doesn't mean we try to deny or hurt or kill the angry wolf. If we did that, we'd end up in a long battle, all the while somehow making that wolf more powerful through our hostility and fear. Hating that wolf sucks the strength right out of us. Instead, we calmly pay attention to the angry wolf and let go of believing they have the answers. If we can do that, they end up lying down next to us, no longer an enemy. We help strengthen the kind and loving wolf, giving it nourishment and support so that we can follow it. That peaceful wolf can become our steady companion and show us the way through all kinds of different life experiences. Restful or chaotic, enjoyable or disappointing experiences may come and go, but we can have a guide with us through it all. This is what mindfulness can help you do. Mindfulness allows us to see our thoughts and feelings as they are beginning. It's very powerful to know what we're feeling as we're feeling it, know what we're thinking as we're thinking it. With mindfulness, we can choose what will strengthen and bring into action, and we can choose what we will gently let go of. We don't have to be at the mercy of old habits or old ways of thinking or old ways of being. We are empowered. It just takes practice.
I just really love that so much because I think it very honestly and really illuminates that we have both an angry and a calm wolf within us, right, in our heart. And when we can acknowledge our feelings and thoughts as we're feeling them and thinking them, right, then we can make a choice. Do we want to let that angry wolf unleash itself, or can we talk ourselves through this? And can we maybe apply a strategy, which I'm going to get into next? But
Jody, there's a question. Can you share the link for the video when possible?
Sure.
You don't have to do that right now if you don't.
Okay. All right. I will share that, and then you guys will share that back out. Excellent. Well, I'm glad someone loved it as much as I do. All right. So speaking now of mindfulness in practice, right, I'm going to review with you all a few very, very helpful strategies that we can do anytime, anywhere. No gym, no yoga pants required, no sitting cross-legged. We can actually do these in line at the grocery store, which means we can certainly do this while we're sitting at our desks at work, or while we're on a break in our bus, or wherever we are, right? So the first one is called a body scan. And a body scan is a great little tool. Again, you can do anywhere, and I'm going to take us through the body scan. Body scan, you can either start at the top of your head or the tip of your toes. And really, during the body scan, as we learned about mindfulness, we're really going to just be acknowledging all the parts of our body and what we're feeling in those parts of our body, and helping our body relax. So let's go ahead and start with the top of our head, is where I usually like to start. And how I love to do a body scan is to imagine that there's a wonderful, warm, healing light that is almost in a liquid form that starts to flow over the top of my head. And so I sit comfortably and I imagine that light streaming down over the top of my head and my forehead and my face, the back of my head, my neck and my shoulders. And I take a moment to think about those parts of my body. I breathe in, breathe out, and I relax all those parts of my body. The warm, healing light continues to roll down my shoulders, my chest, my upper arms, my back, my abdomen, my lower back. And again, I acknowledge how those parts are feeling. I breathe in and breathe out. Imagine the warm light continues to flow down my forearms, my hands, over my seat, my thighs, back of my upper legs, my knees. And again, I take a deep breath in while imagining all that warmth, healing and relaxing those parts of my body. The warm light continues down my shins, the back of my legs, my calves, my ankles, heels, the tops of my feet, the bottom of my feet, and the warm light pools right around my toes, reflecting warmth and healing and energy. I take a final deep breath in and breathe out. And that's it, right? Can you imagine you're doing that in the grocery store? Standing there in that line behind that person with 8 million things in their cart? Very relaxing, right? It can be done anywhere. So that's our body scan. Our next mindful strategy is a 5-4-3-2-1 grounding. And those numbers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, are going to correlate to our senses, right? So 5 is going to represent our sight, 4, our hearing, 3, our touch, 2, our taste, 2 is our scent, and 1 is our taste, right? So this is called the five senses grounding technique. And when we're terribly stressed, this can be so helpful. You know, that stress when your mind is just spinning out, you're almost frantic and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or I'm not going to get it done, right? We do this strategy a lot with our kids who are really freaked out and they just need something to help bring them back to square one. So what we do with the kids and what you can do with yourself is you can say, okay, quick, I look and see what are 5 things that I can see and name. I'm looking at this picture of George Washington on the wall. There's yellow, green, and purple chairs in this media center. I'm looking at Wes, my other friend up there on the screen. And they've got so many great books in this media center. There's my 5 things I can see. Let's think, what are some 4 things I can hear? My little Buddha beads are jingling on my wrist, right? Oh, somebody's backing up. I can hear the backup horn going, blah, 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 right? So 4 things we can hear, right? 3 things we can feel. I'm wearing my fuzzy jacket today. Feels so soft, right? I can feel the smoothness of my big cup of tea here, right? So a 3rd thing that we can feel. 2 things that we can smell, right? Well, yeah, this smells like the media center. We all know that smell, right? And my hair, I put some spray on it so I can smell that, right? And finally, 1 thing we can taste. If you have a snack, take a little taste. And when I don't have a snack, I just lick my upper lip, which I'm sure is going to be salty. So there's my 1 taste. So this is something that when we're really, really spinning out of control, this will really help bring us completely into that oneness that I talked about, into our present moment. What is around me? What is going on around me? Because really, when I was talking about, distraction and the sand, we're so distracted that we rarely take time to fully capture everything that's happening around us with our senses, right? This is a world of so many distractions. So it's incredibly healing for us to take time to use our senses and really bring ourselves into this exact moment of experience where we are at this time. It's incredibly peaceful. As it's the name says, it's grounding, and it's really a healing thing that we can do for ourselves. So I encourage you to use this with yourselves and with family, any of you with kids. When your kids are really having a big meltdown, it's a great way to get kids back on track, right? Because again, it's distracting them, not with a typical distraction, but with something that will really bring them into themselves. Our next mindfulness strategy is called square breathing. This is such a great technique that is evidence-based and is actually used by any sort of high stress military or police personnel, right? All SWAT team personnel are trained in square breathing. That's how helpful this technique is, right? Because imagine you're going to go into something very dangerous. You have to be absolutely able to respond in a very clear and focused way, right? So I know we're not SWAT team members, but some of us in our roles feel like SWAT team members sometimes, right? So square breathing is something that you would do when you're really feeling nervous and out of sorts, or you can just do it anytime and it will really bring you some deep relaxation. So the square breathing involves breathing in for a count of 4, holding it for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and holding that out breath for a count of 4. So I'm going to lead us in some square breathing right now. I hope you all join along so that you can experience the benefit of taking a series of deep square breaths. All right, so let's go for it. Let's go ahead and breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Again, breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Final in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. You guys are all now qualified to be SWAT team members. Not really, but I hope that you felt a little bit of relaxation. It's usually recommended you do 5 to 7 rounds of square breathing to get the full effect of that. Breathing is something that is really an underrated tool, right? It's right under our nose, literally. We have breath at our disposal every second of every day. And if we can use it in a healing way, such as a square breathing, and there are so many different types of breathing techniques, we really can change our body and brain chemistry, right? We can bring down the stress hormone. And that's really the purpose of this square breathing, is to eliminate that really toxic stress hormone that so many of us suffer from too much of, right? So the minute you feel yourself getting anxious, I really encourage you all to do for yourself 5 to 7 rounds of square breathing to feel at your peak, right? All right, my favorite mindfulness strategy of all, the mindful eating. I just can't tell you how many cookies and good things I ate over the holiday break, and that's all come to an abrupt halt. But we all have to eat, and so there's no excuse for us not to do mindful eating. The problem is so much of us multitask while we're eating that we are not getting the full benefit of, what mindful eating can bring to us, right? So the first instruction for mindful eating is to do nothing else, right? Put away your phone. You can't really do mindful eating when you're having lunch with a friend. Turn off the TV. It's you and your plate or bowl of food. That's it, right? We're limiting all those distractions. And then similarly to our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're going to use all of our senses when we eat mindfully. We're going to really make sure that we first off take in what it is that we're eating with our eyes, right? Because that actually starts the digestive process, and that's good for our health, right? Help us fully digest. So rather than cookies with icing, I'm going to take in now my salad with different colors, vegetables on it, and see all that beautiful array of colors, right? Then I'm going to hear what it sounded like to chop up those carrots and celery or whatever good healthy things I'm going to stick in there. I'm going to take in the aroma of the freshness and maybe some herbs and oils and vinegar that I'm going to put on there. I'm going to feel the textures of those vegetables crunching in my mouth, right? And that's a very important part of mindful eating, is the chewing, right? Because when we're distracted and we're multitasking, we're just piling in the food and we're not even really mindful that we're chewing. And so when we mindfully eat, we are going to target 30 chews per bite of food, right? This also is not only excellent for our well-being to take that time to eat, it's excellent for our digestion, right? And a lot of us are gulpers. I'm a gulper, right? And so I'll be like 1, 2, oh, wait, I didn't even make it to 2, I didn't, let alone 30. So I've really been trying more and more to practice 30 chews to really get that optimum digestion going, and really to enjoy every bit of eating. So we all eat, we're all going to eat today. We've got a couple more opportunities to get in our mindful eating. So I hope that you guys will all take this to heart and enjoy your food and eat mindfully in the new year. So we're going to go ahead and recap the wonderful gems, hopefully, that you will take with you and employ in your lives for the year 2023. First and foremost, the most important gem of all, again, is to set healthy boundaries. I can't stress this enough, right? Our time is very valuable, and our time that we can devote to our well-being and happiness is the most valuable. It's not selfish. It's essential, right? Think about the airlines. What do they say? Put on your own oxygen mask first before assisting others. When we've taken care of ourselves, we can better take care of others, right? We can better do the golden rule, and we'll do it without being resentful or burnt out, right? We'll be filled and we'll be able to give more fully, right? So set those boundaries for yourself, for your time, for your emotions, right? For you personally, for me, right? That's our new buzzword, our new slogan. I'm doing this for me. And for me, we're going to live by the silver rule, right? Going to do unto myself as I do for others, right? Those nice things, those niceties, right? We treat everybody so good, and then we leave ourselves the little scraps, right? It's okay. It's okay for us to treat ourselves well, to care for ourselves in ways that maybe feel unfamiliar to us. Give it a practice and see how it feels, right? Maybe make an accountability partner and help spur each other on, right? Are you caring for yourself? That's a great question. And 3, make time for those rocks, right? As I mentioned, when we find those things that really give our lives value and meaning and purpose, we really should be making some time to include those in our day, and at least, if anything, our week, right? So making time for those rocks will be an essential tool to our happiness in 2023. And finally, practice mindfulness whenever we can, right? It's not that hard. It just takes a few minutes to do a body scan or to mindfully eat your meal, do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or do some rounds of square breathing. It's right at our fingertips, and there's a lot of bang for your buck with the mindfulness. So I'm going to thank you all for your time and attention today. I'm going to wish you all a fantastic 2023. I hope that you all take care of your whole you and feel just joyful and empowered doing so. And remember, it's okay to do something for you. I'm going to open it up to a few questions. We've got like 3 minutes if anyone wanted to chime in.